You know, I was thinking about a few things, and one of the things I was thinking about is I wasn't, I don't talk too much about Roberta Laws simply because I didn't know anything, which is something that Mary doesn't tell anyone. So I was going through some old posts and things trying to remember approximately when I did learn about that. And what I couldn't think. But I did not know that Mary had done that. It was kept a secret from the entire family for a very long time. It happened in 2009, and I didn't find out about it until June or July of 2013, which was 2 years before my mother passed. I don't, I never did. I knew something was up. I knew something was wrong because of the way my mother acted. She just had changed a little bit from 2009. And, I would ask her what, but she would never tell me. And it really wasn't until probably the last week of her life that she really even began to talk to me a little bit about, her fear, I guess. She didn't want to be alone with Mary. She was scared that I was going to leave her, which, I wouldn't have. And I promised her I wouldn't, and I didn't. The truth, a little bit of the truth was starting to seek out a little bit, but never did get the whole thing from her. But for some reason, I don't know if it was Mary's idea or my mom's idea, but no one in the family was told about any of it. And the only thing I'm going to say this is, if you truly are a victim, you're going to talk to your family. If we would have known about it, I can promise you we would have been there. Through, any time that they went to court, we would have been there with them and support. But that wasn't the case at all. We were never even told. And I believe, I'm kind of can't quite remember, but I believe it was my daughter that heard about it first. And the only person in our family that actually knew anything was my mother's brother, because he did drive her to court when she had to go, and he put her in the wheelchair and pushed her in, and it always confused me, but he wouldn't tell me no more than that. And he really didn't say too much until after my mother had passed away, and he came to see me here in Georgia. So even then, he was loyal to my mother, and I get when she asked you to keep something a secret, you kept it a secret, you kept it quiet. So when Mary says things about, when she talks, she doesn't tell you the whole story. She doesn't tell you everything. And even yet, she's never tried to explain anything to me. In fact, in July of 2013 is when she blew up at me because I had learned about it and I had said something. And that was the day that my mother gave her money, her and her boyfriend, to go stay at a motel, because I wanted to talk to my mother and I wanted to understand what's going on, because I was worried, I was scared. Mary didn't like to hear me say anything, and I just wasn't never made that way. If it's wrong, it's wrong, and I wish I'd have fought a little bit harder. I knew there was something that they were hiding, but I didn't know exactly what. And even then, in 2013, I wasn't told the whole truth, not near the truth. I'm just now learning the truth of the trial and truly what happened, because I read the book and I knew that the whole first part of that book was garbage. So naturally, her telling the story of her being the victim had to be garbage as well. Someone like that lies about, she's not going to lie about one thing and not everything else. She's going to lie about it all. But I wanted to clear that up because I don't think I've ever really addressed that. If I have, I'm sorry. You have to hear it again. But I just want you to know I did not know. I'm learning as you're learning. And I'm grateful to Original Al for, bringing light and putting some focus on the real victim, which was the one that lost her life that day. For what reason? For no reason at all. Because she didn't even fulfill the reason why she was, taking part in it, to get rid of the woman. She didn't even stay with the man that she was fighting for. So she did it. It was done for nothing. No gain whatsoever, but a huge loss. So, I feel so bad because sometimes I don't think about what everyone does know or what I've already said. And I don't like to repeat things, but as you know, with Mary, you end up just going around and around in a circle, and I don't like to do that. But that's what I wanted to tell you about. That is that I found out some in 2013, and it was pretty shocking. And even then, I had to go research it myself and read the newspaper articles and kind of get some information that way. But really, I never learned the truth until now, which is extremely sad to hear something this way. Because now it makes a whole lot of sense to me. A whole lot is coming very clear to me, not just for the victim, but also for, my mother, who was putting up with more than I even dreamed possible. I didn't know, because I've said it before. I've said I never dreamed that Mary would turn out quite like this. I didn't see her as a full-time liar. I seen her as a spoilt, little brat that just, got her way one way or the other. But to go to this extreme, I never saw this coming. So it kind of it took me by surprise. And now, once again, I'm taken by surprise at the depth of what she really, truly is. And then I just feel so sad because I think of the intimidation that she pulled on my mom. And now I see, I wonder about a lot of things, like how many times, I got a phone call saying my mother fell. I wonder even more. Since I'm on this, I'm going to quickly tell you this too. She also says, that I went to Florida to desecrate her brother's grave. Well, I'm going to say this one more time. I never desecrated no grave. When my younger sister had passed away, which was right before then, and my other sister was in the hospital, and I did lose her right after that. They died a month apart. But I had went to Florida for several reasons. It was a planned trip. It wasn't to desecrate nothing. I had went to Florida to see if I could get, because it's always nagged at me about the day my mother fell. I went to see if I could get the transcripts or the times and dates when the paramedics picked my mother up and the day she had her surgery, because, like I said, it's always bothered me. And I found out that they don't hold records that long. So that was, very disappointing. But they did take the information, and they did promise if anything should come up, they'd let me know. I did leave them with all the things that made me feel the way I felt. I left them with that information so that it would be fresh on their mind to let me know if anything came across them. So that was the main reason I went to Florida, was to see what I could find out about that. And while I was there, I did go see my sister's grave, which is why I was at the grave of my nephew, because they're all buried there together. Little Ronnie and his father and my sister. So that was my way, I wanted to say goodbye to my sister privately, and I did. I hate that things get turned and twisted that way, but I had a few other things to do for that trip, and it was quite an eventful trip for me. But I wanted to clear that up, and I also want to say this: Adonis Paul had nothing to do with that trip, nothing. I would have made that trip. Was going to before his his stream to get a truck. When she doesn't tell you this either. She doesn't tell you how she went after his minor daughter, you know, she doesn't tell you the things that just, you know, you cross a line. That's a line you don't cross. You do not mess with people's children. I don't care if they're 3 or 50. You know, just like she did with mine. You know, she hurt me by first attacking my deceased daughter. Then she went after my grandbabies. And, you know, it's unforgivable, is what it is. And so, fortunately, you know, I believe me, I could lash out a lot worse, and I have to really hold myself back because I don't want to be that person. I don't want to be that person. But I wanted you all to understand, the ones that don't know, that no one had anything to do with my trip, except for myself. You know, I went alone. No one paid me, nor did I pay anyone else. Adonis Paul had nothing to do with that. Original Al, bless her heart, she wasn't even a part of the program back then. You know, we didn't know, she didn't know us, and I didn't know her. I hadn't heard her. So, you know, to have her included in something she really had no part in is wrong. It's just another slanderous thing that Mary says and does. So, in case you didn't know, I just wanted to clear that up. And, you know, I don't know any other way to say things except the way it is for me. I try not to talk about things I don't know. Every now and then I might say something, and, you know, I might, you know, I might do something stupid, but, you know, I've never intended to hurt anyone and, you know, this is real life for me. This is a part of my real life. I don't know how to be any other way. I wasn't born and I wasn't meant to have a YouTube. I'm not a creator. I'm nowhere in them categories whatsoever. It's not my generation, you know. But you know, I'm thankful for my time here because I have met some wonderful people, and I'm thankful for that. You know, it was to clear something up that's very important to me, and that's who, you know, the legacy of my mother, who is someone I wish you could all know, truly know. You know, and I heard Original Al said something today about, you know, Mary, I'm probably twisting it, but she basically was saying how Mary wants everyone to think that the women in our family was weak, and, you know, and that's why she can't help how she is, which is far from the truth, I promise you. It takes a lot of strength and a lot of pushing to go through life the way my mother did. And for her to raise her daughters to, you know, I've told y'all about my sisters, everyone, they were good girls, you know, and they have a strength of survival. And you know, I did too. Didn't matter what got thrown at us as children or adults. You know, there was just something there that pushed us through it. And I know, you know, it was the example that we had. When you have a mother like ours, you really just can't sit around and cry about nothing. I mean, you can't. You just have to get up and do it. And to not get up and put all you have in it would have been to just, it would have been so disappointing to her. Her life wasn't a waste. It wasn't anything, as Mary has said. She was a strong woman who was gentle and sweet. And it saddened me. You know, it breaks my heart. But I did this. I came here. I did this for mostly it was for my daughter, the one that passed, her children, because, you know, their memories stopped the day my daughter passed. And they were in, you know, 11 and 13. That's when their memories stopped. So I kept thinking, if I allow her to do this, continue lying about us, if they ever stumble across that with no memories to back it up and no one to come forward and say anything to them, they're going to believe that would be horrible. Can you imagine? And knowing it's a lie, I couldn't do that to them because all I could think about was, you know, if If it was a scrapbook, it ended that day. Their memories ended that day. And if the truth wasn't told, they were never going to know it. Because as they get older, it's going to slip away from them. I just could not allow that to happen. I just couldn't. But I'm going to get off of here real quick. And there was a couple of things I was going to talk to you about, and I'm going to come back and do that. Thank you for your time. And if there's any questions, just please ask me. I'll be more than happy to answer you. Y'all have a good night.